Bonjour, bienvenue sur le site Je suis manager. Aujourd'hui, j'ai le plaisir d'interviewer Robert Dilts, qui vient des États-Unis et qui, dans le domaine de l'intelligence collective, est une référence. So, Robert, I'd like to ask you, how would you define collective intelligence? What is different from what people know in management?
First of all, I think what usually people know in management is what we would call collected intelligence. And so 1 + 1 makes 2. Okay, if I put together this person's competency, you get, they add up to some kind of a whole. In collective intelligence, the whole is greater than the sum of the parts. So we would say 1 + 1 makes 3 or 4 or 5. So so collective intelligence comes out of a quality of synergy, so that where people are able to do something together that is impossible to do independently. But also there's very often a quality of what you might call emergence, that is something new and unexpected comes that no individual knows already. So something is able to come into being.
But what's new and different from other management methodology that we've heard for the last 20 or 30 years?
Yeah.
Is it different?
Yeah, absolutely. I think so. Because like I say, I think most management methodologies are working towards some form of 1 + 1 makes 2, collaboration. Okay, I'm putting pieces together to make a puzzle. But what really is, I think, the benefit of collective intelligence is what we refer to as generative collaboration, right? And if you think about it, many of the breakthrough innovations, they don't come from one person. They're coming from a synergy of two people. Like if you take Steve Jobs and Steve Wozniak, right? Apple is not just, here's this 1 + 1. It's something that nobody could have ever originally even thought of or planned emerges there.
Can you tell me something about uncertainty, confusion?
Absolutely.
This piece of puzzle where we don't know where we are going.
Exactly.
I know this is something you like to highlight. So.
Yeah, that first of all, in collective intelligence, the intelligence, it's like we were saying, it's not already known. And so what begins to happen is this idea of emergence, right? Something begins to take shape, but it's not obvious what it is in the beginning.
So you talk about intention?
Yes.
What do you mean by that?
Yeah, so we usually say, okay, that to begin to create a collective intelligence in a group, there has to be a common intention. Now, an intention is a direction more than a destination. That is, you don't know where you're going to arrive. And so you have to, you're making it up, right? You're creating it on the way, and that's why you need the collective. No one person knows. No one person can do it.
Even the CEO or the chairman? Or?
Absolutely. I mean, what I often find with the best CEOs is they say, my job is to surround myself with people who are smarter than me, right? Who are better than me. Because it's not about me having a power position. I'm the one who is, in a sense, pointing the direction so that the group has this shared intention. And then there is, like I was saying, a synergy around that intention.
But if I am a manager, usually I am trying to set objectives, to explain the objectives. I have to explain that we must reach those figures. And collective intelligence, it seems to be out of anywhere.
Yeah. First of all, but you've got
to connect that.
But you've got to realize that, okay, not everything needs collective intelligence. Okay, so sometimes you can get by with let me put it this way: as long as you're just doing business as usual. Okay, you can. It's all about efficiency. Let's get there. Let's meet an objective. In today's business world, that's not enough. Right? You've got to innovate. You've got to stay ahead of the game, right? You've got to stay ahead of the competition. So what that means is you don't always know what the next stage is going to look like. You've got to create it, and you have to create it together. So the example I like to give, and this is it's a concrete, example with a well-known telecommunications company. They knew that they needed to create a new product very quickly because first of all, the market is changing, things are moving rapidly, so they have to make this product. It's so important to their business that they literally put 1,000 people on the project. Now, what happened was one of their competitors was able to make a better product, so better quality. They did it more quickly. They were there first. They were first to the market, less expensively, so it was cheaper to make. And in every key performance indicator, they outperformed the group of 1,000. The most astonishing thing was this competitor did it with a team of 20 people. So the big question was, how is it possible that 20 people can so completely outperform 1,000? The answer was exactly what you were talking about. That 1,000 people was managed by a leader who set objectives, told everybody what to do, right? Here's the piece of the puzzle, you have that piece, and there's the puzzle together. The 20 people didn't know what the puzzle was going to look like at the end when they started. They knew that there was a direction. The 1,000 people, they worked by themselves, independently, and so that it was a collected, Whereas with that 20 people, there was constant exchange. When ideas were brought in, everybody had them. The ideas were moving around. So there you begin to get a difference, right? If you were,
what is coming to me now is when we say collective intelligence, it seems that it's creative.
Yes.
Creative also. So it's when we need to reset something, our strategic plan, our product development or whatever. So you don't use, this is a methodology that you are using specific place, specific time.
Exactly.
And which is new because you really highlight both sides of the brain.
Yes, yes.
It's about being in some uncertainty. You don't know where you are at the very. But what are the benefits at the end? What do we get from?
So first of all, as you were already saying, one of the great benefits of collective intelligence is, number one, that the whole is greater than just the sum of the parts. So people grow, right? They become more. In a typical situation, I just do my job. I use the capabilities that I already know. I apply those capabilities. That's it. In collective intelligence, we are accelerating the capacities of each other and our learning and our growth. So that actually in collective intelligence, we say, I am not just a separate part, but we use this idea of a whole on. I am part of something bigger, and by becoming part of something bigger, let's use the analogy of a sports team. You can have the best individual athletes. If there is no collective intelligence, you just have a group of athletes, and you're not going to win the World Cup. We've seen that many times, right? The team with the best athletes doesn't necessarily win. What makes it possible for a team to outperform, right? Team with athletes that are not individually as good as another, outperform that team, is this capacity for collectivity. So again, the benefits start with performance. Right, so that in collective intelligence, we're actually bringing out, in a certain way, the best of each other. And we're also bringing out capabilities and resources that, for example, you might not even know that you had. Right? And this is this idea of the intelligence is not just in you and just in me, and we put it together. I sometimes use this analogy of hydrogen and oxygen makes water. Well, water is not the hydrogen, it's not the oxygen. But if you take the hydrogen away, there's no water, there's only oxygen. It's in this quality of interaction, and that's the key. And that's where the managers really have their contribution to it.
Now maybe, last question, is it a consultant field, or do you believe the managers can reappropriate to themselves those way of leading?
Oh, absolutely, managers can appropriate it. I mean, in fact, I would say consultants can help, but it's only going to come through really in a business if the managers actually start to take that on. And you see this, as you know, this is not just some theory I came up with. I came to this by observing, by modeling, by working with people who are some of the best companies in the world and some of the most high-performing teams in the world. So you see that it's sort of naturally in the behaviors of these managers of, like, we've been talking about Apple or Google or some of these other places. There you see the benefits of it are this constant, sustainable, let's call it sustainable creativity. Sustainable success, actually, I believe, can only come through a collective intelligence. By the way, another one of the great benefits of collective intelligence is increased resilience. So because what's going to happen is individuals are going to, have troubles. Mm-hmm. When the collective can hold, that common intention, no one individual is how do I say, is indispensable. So the collective can keep going, even if Steve's. Yes, exactly.
Okay. Thank you very much for that.
You're welcome.
Et j'espère que vous avez trouvé de l'inspiration dans tout ce que nous a expliqué Robert. Merci, à bientôt.